The Irrational Confidence Podcast. The Texas Longhorns, they're 7.5-point road favorites. They're going to travel all the way north to the city of Ann Arbor to face the Wolverines. Like I said, time to record, Texas is a 7.5-point favorite. Over under only 43.5.
Well, it's because Michigan can't score.
Well, it might be, that's true as well, but what you got for this one?
I know that's the first thing I was start off. Can Michigan actually score? Colton Loveland, great tight end. Very, very talented.
All right.
Donovan Edwards, did you even play in that game for Fresno State? What? It was terrible. You never even got them going. They were not in the groove. Khalil Mullinsdale, he definitely got some carries. No receivers whatsoever I'm even worried about for Michigan. And quarterback situation. We thought it was going to be Alex Orji, Jim Harbaugh, and when he was there saying Orji's the greatest quarterback in the whole entire country, he's the second best in the country behind J.J. McCarthy, that kid didn't even win the job. Davis Warren gets it, and that offense looked terrible to start. They had 89 yards total offense in the first half. First Fresno State, folks. First Fresno State. This is not the same Michigan team that we saw the past couple of years. There's no Connor Stalions on the sideline. There's no elite five-star offensive linemen that have game experience and multiple starts behind their back. The receivers are all new. Donovan Edwards is really the only true running back in the backfield. A lot of inexperience at quarterback, and then there's Colson Loveland. How does this Michigan team score? This Texas football team is loaded, folks. And you have got to, you're not going to win this game for a 10-3 and squeak it out. I don't care what you think, how great that defense is, and the defense is very, very talented. Will Johnson can't cover all those Texas receivers. Zeke can't cover all those Texas receivers. That defensive line is going against probably, arguably, the top 3 offensive line in the country. They're not blowing people off the ball like they did at Fresno State. This is going to be a matchup of souls. Does Michigan have enough? And I have some serious issues right now with believing that Michigan, after losing all the guys to the portal and all the guys to graduation and all the guys to the draft, that they're going to be able to match point for point, play for play. They are ranked because they are a top 10 team because they were defending national champions. And you know what? If you're defending national champion, you can stay ranked top 10 all you want until you're proven otherwise. And I got a feeling there's just not enough fans in that stadium that could help you crowd-wise versus Texas. This team is battle-tested. Quinn Ewers went to Bryant-Denny at night and beat Alabama. He even had him a year before, should have almost beat them the year before if he didn't get knocked out. This kid's ready to play. He's not going to be scared. He went almost shot for shot versus the Huskies and Michael Penix Jr. last year. Sark and this offense are ready to go. They put up 50 on Colorado State, and Colorado State, they have at least an offense. That defense shut them down. This is going to be a button down the hatches effort for Michigan if they're going to keep this thing close. And I mean, Michigan fans are going to be screaming at me, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. You don't know, we're Michigan, man, go blue and all that nonsense. Well, prove it. Prove that you're bigger than what you have been in the past. How much of that depth is still there? Where's the coaching? Where's the development? All those players that were there are gone. There's a reason why Jim Harbaugh left, because he knows bad sanctions are coming. And I think he tried to do it to make sure that the school wouldn't have the punishment. I'm going to leave and take one for the team. All the players are gone. Which of these young guys who've been sitting around shows up and makes a play on Saturday, offensively or defensively? Texas-wise, hold nothing back. The image of Texas going to Ann Arbor and beating down on the Wolverines football team, the image, the icon, the logos, just the names alone, the historic significance of dropping a large number on the Wolverines in the big house would feed families in Austin and all throughout the state of Texas for decades. You can have a chance to go out there and set the tone of a top 10 win by name your score. If you want it, you have to go and do it. Run the ball, throw the ball, defense, get after it. Leave no doubt. Because honestly, if you go in there and you struggle or you squeak out a win, people are going to start doubting, was Texas all smoke and mirrors? Are they really truly there? Did they lose a lot of players too? Have they recouped? Those are good questions to ask. This is a chance to set a standard. Like we mentioned, Oregon and Boise State. set a standard for the season. If
Right.
you go into Ann Arbor and dominate, you can get it done. I have Texas covering easily. They win this game. I'm going to say 30-10. It's going to be ugly. It will be over by halftime, and they'll run the ball in the second half out of courtesy. But Michigan will have to do some soul searching offensively, and where they're going to find who's going to be the quarterback, receivers, and development going forward, because the defense can only do so much, folks. And if the offense can't put up points, eventually they're going to get worn out. And then we get down the season, those games are going to start catching up, and that lack of offense, they're going to become the Iowa going forward, where they have great defense and no offense. But Texas will roll, fight Texas fight, and they cover without any struggle whatsoever.
Fresh. There's a lot of intrigue in this game on a few levels for me. All right, for the Wolverines to win this game, let's play the what-if game, because I don't think it's going to happen either. I'm just going to say straight off from my analysis here, I really don't see a avenue for the Wolverines to win. But, never say never. I've learned that a long time.
Say never.
Never say never. But here's what's going to happen. You're going to have to get multiple turnovers. You're going to have to win the turnover game by at least +3 in my eyes. You're going to have to get after the quarterback. You're going to need 4-5 sacks in this game. You're going to have to get pressure on Ewers and being able to, I would say if you knocked him out of the game, but Arch Manning looked fairly decent himself in mop-up time there. That's what's going to take. The Wolverines have a really good defense. They do have a really good defense, and it shows at times there's still a high level of NFL talent that is on that Wolverines defense. The problem that's going to happen is the offense is so inept that defense is going to be on the field way too much. And sooner or later, even those elite level talent guys, even those defensive linemen that you have that both will probably be first or second round draft picks here, they're going to get tired. They're going to have a play where they're not going to go all out in it. And Ewers or Gibson or Blue or whoever it's going to be is going to eat you alive in that moment there. The intriguing thing for me is the continue build of a relationship, a passer and receiver relationship between Isaiah Bond and Quinn Ewers. I think Isaiah Bond, he's over at Alabama, transfers over to Texas. He is needing to build that chemistry between him and Ewers. I think this is the game where those two go off together. I think Bond is going to have 2 touchdowns in this football game. People are going to say why he was so highly recruited going to Alabama. Now, on the Texas side, here's what I need to see from Texas. Texas, I know you're good. I know you're really, really good. Are you elite level great? Are you one of the top 4 or 5 teams in all of college football? Because you have some games coming up. Obviously, Red River rivalry, always a big game. That goes without saying. I have too much respect for that rivalry. But there's a team in Athens, Georgia that is eventually going to come to Austin, Texas. That's another game that you need to prepare for. Texas played Colorado State, right, Fresh?
That's correct.
Yep. 0 sacks.
0 sacks. 0 points.
0 sacks. That concerns me a little bit. Why weren't you able to get pass rush on Colorado State? Again, maybe you didn't call blitzes. Maybe you sent 4 every single time, dropped 8 into coverage. Maybe you did. I'll give you that. But the fact that you couldn't get a single sack against Colorado State does leave a level of concern for me. Again, it's week 1. I'm going to chalk it up to week 1 and playing vanilla and knowing you're going to boat race a team. You're going to destroy them. All said and done. What I need to see you get after Orji or Davis Warren, whichever one is going to be the starting quarterback for the Wolverines here. Wolverines, you got to find someone who's going to throw the football. Davis Warren didn't really look like the answer. Orji threw it twice. Mullings had some decent runs for them, but nothing spectacular. I just don't know where Michigan's going to get their points. And again, I think the Texas defense is going to kind of clamp down a little bit, and they don't have to be elite level defense, but they have to be good. I got Texas 34-7.
I mean, you got like, we can break down the Texas defense and how Michigan's going to struggle. You got like two really good safeties, Macumba and Barron, I think, at safety.
Yep.
Corners, I think Muhammad's one of the corners. And I think the slot guy, I'm not sure on the other two guys, the slot in the perimeter corner. Anthony Hill at junior at linebacker, absolutely tremendous. You got Colin Simmons,
Yeah.
the new freshman defensive end who can get off the quarterback. And then Trey Moore, who dominated UTSA, who's a sack machine off the edge. If you let that dude pin his head, his ears back, it's going to be painful. You've got to find, we've mentioned it with all these other games. Can Michigan run the ball all day long and keep the Texas offense on the sideline? Possibly. But that offensive line is still, this is not the last offensive line last year or the year before. They're not going to be able to go Blake Corum, Edwards, Blake Corum, Edwards, Blake Corum, Edwards,
Right.
4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards, 4 yards. They're going to have to get some chunk plays. And Sharon Moore, you're going to have to be creative and be a little aggressive in this football game. You might throw some interceptions, but at least go down, at least show and try to compete. Don't lay down and just try to run the ball 70 times. This is not Penn State last year where you went and hit Happy Valley and you ran it, 40 straight times?
Right.
Texas ain't going to allow that.
I don't think Sark's going to call off the dogs either.
No,
I think,
or not.
yeah, he's
It's
going
a
to.
it's a logo game. It's a logo game.
Right. It's going to be it's going to tell us a lot because let's say the Wolverines do keep it like respectable. Let's say Texas winds up winning 28-21, something along the lines, touchdown game within the spread. I think it's going to say, okay, yeah, the Wolverines team isn't as good as they were last year, but they aren't as bad as we kind of think they are and where they're kind of falling to. It kind of is where you can lose this game, but kind of steady the ship a little bit. Texas, I think this is a statement win for them. I think that everyone's talking about the top 3 or 4 teams. Everyone's talking about Notre Dame. Everyone's talking about Miami. Everyone's talking about the teams that are at the top of the AP top 25, which I don't really put a lot of weight in those things because I don't think anyone really pays that much attention to that. But I think Texas wants to say, hey, no, you need to look at us. And I know Texas fans are going to say, hey, look at us, but it really needs the rest of the country to go, oh, it's one of those type of Texas teams this year. Like, they got everything from top to bottom there as well. Still a little nervous about the run game, just a bit. Need to see more out of that. I want to see more. That's why I say I'm nervous about it. So, again, I think Longhorns win big in this game. But, again, there's a lot of stories to be told in this football game.
Yeah, I mean, logo game. Just the one thing that, if you're Michigan, there's a soccer term, park the bus. If it's a close game, milk the play clock, take your time, slow walk out of the huddle, whatever you can to make the score look better.